What if the friendship didn't end? What if you just finally stopped chasing it? Hey, it's Susie, and the Signals and Standards podcast is your space to get real about relationships, energy, and the quiet truths we don't always say out loud. Today, we're taking that first spring cleaning step and talking about something that doesn't get enough honest airtime: outgrowing friendships. Not the explosive, dramatic endings. You know, the slow fade, the unanswered text, never being chosen or being left out, and the realization that you're the only one holding the thread together. If you've ever felt the weight of one sided friendships, the confusion of adult friendships changing, second guessing other people's intentions, or even the emotional drain of constantly being the one who reaches out, this episode is for you. By the end of this episode, you will understand the difference between loyalty and the overextension, how to recognize when a friendship has run its course, and how to choose self-respect in relationships without the guilt. Stay with us. Welcome to Signals and Standards with Suzie, where we decode mixed messages, elevate your standards, and deliver practical insights that you can act on. I'm your empowerment coach, Suzie, here to guide you from confusion to clarity, helping you reclaim your power and create the relationships and life you deserve. There's a moment in so many friendships where things don't break, they just bend, and then quietly stay bent. You start noticing the shift in energy. You're the one reaching out, following up, keeping the connection alive. At first, you give it the benefit of the doubt. Life is busy, people go through things, and that's true. But as highlighted by psychological work on one-sided friendships, when effort consistently flows in one direction, it creates emotional imbalance. And over time, that imbalance doesn't just sit quietly. It turns into burnout. What once felt like loyalty starts to feel really heavy. Think of a friendship like a garden. In the beginning, both people are showing up. There's care, attention, intention. But when only one person keeps watering it, you eventually stop growing something together. You start trying to keep something alive on your own. Therapists explain this as some friendships are seasonal, and we've talked about that before. Those friendships reflect who you were at a certain time in your life. And as you grow, your needs, your energy, your interests, and your direction can change, sometimes drastically. That doesn't erase the value of what you had with that person at that time, but it can change what fits in your life now. A lot of people stay in one-sided friendships longer than they want to admit. Not because they don't see it, but because of history, shared memories, and maybe even loyalty. That internal pull to hold on. But these dynamics often create unspoken rules, right? One person becomes the constant giver, the one who carries the connection, while the other gets used to receiving. Not always intentionally, but consistently. And the longer that pattern continues, the more it chips away at your sense of balance and self-respect. Then comes the overthinking. We've spoken about that at length. You start questioning yourself. Maybe you're expecting too much. Maybe you're reading into things. This is where friendship anxiety builds. This rumination can keep you stuck, replaying conversations, trying to interpret silence, filling in gaps with self-doubt. But not every shift is about you. People change, so do you. Learning not to take things personally is essential because someone else's inconsistency is often about their capacity, not your worth. Check out last week's episode about when everything feels personal for some actionable tips on how to do this. And when you've been overgiving for a long time, something else starts to happen. You feel more drained, more sensitive, more affected by small changes. Psychology calls this emotional boundary fatigue, when your energy has been stretched too far for too long. It's not that you're too much, it's that you've been carrying more than your share, and your system is starting to push back. Now, bring it into a real moment. You decide to stop initiating with someone. Not to test anyone, but to create space and see what happens. See what's real. And then nothing happens. That silence can feel uncomfortable. It can bring up doubt, even sadness. But it also brings clarity. It shows you what the connection looks like without your constant effort. And recognizing that isn't failure, it's awareness. At the same time, not every friendship that shifts is meant to end. In fact, adult friendships need intention from both people. They have to have mutual effort. Life gets full, priorities change, and sometimes connections need to be adjusted rather than let go completely. There's research showing that strong adult friendships are built through consistent mutual effort over time, even if that effort looks different than it once did. The key difference is responsiveness. When someone values the connection, they find ways to show up. When that's missing over and over again, it becomes a pattern, not a phase. And this is where your growth comes in, because our friendship needs evolve over time as we do, and as our life changes. What once felt enough may not feel fulfilling anymore. You may want more depth, more consistency, more presence. That doesn't make you difficult. It means you're paying attention to what aligns with you now. So outgrowing a friendship isn't something to feel guilty about. It's not about blame or cutting people off. It's about recognizing when something no longer feels balanced or supportive. It's about choosing relationships that feel mutual, not one-sided. And most importantly, it's about understanding that as you grow, it's natural for your connections to change with you. So let's be real for a moment. You've probably felt it too. The exhaustion of always being the one to reach out. The quiet disappointment when your effort isn't met. Or that subtle knot of anxiety when you wonder if you're expecting too much. Those moments, they're not just life being hard. They're signals, gentle nudges from your own awareness showing you where energy isn't mutual. They're the moments when you start to notice that you're carrying a friendship alone. And that recognition is powerful. It tells you something about the dynamic, not about your worth. You might see it in small ways. You're the first to text or call. Plans fade unless you arrange them, or important milestones pass without acknowledgement. Maybe you start hesitating to share your thoughts or your victories because the other person doesn't seem interested. These aren't punishments or flaws, they're observations. They're your inner compass pointing to imbalance and emotional fatigue that's been quietly building. And noticing these patterns doesn't make you judgmental. It makes you self-aware. The truth is, some friendships aren't meant to stay forever. And that's normal. And it's okay. People move. Priorities change. Growth pulls you in different directions. That doesn't erase the value of what you shared. It just means the relationship has evolved. And that's where your choice comes in. Do you continue overgiving to maintain something that no longer serves you? Or do you honor your energy and let the natural flow reveal itself? When you start trusting that instinct, you begin to see clearly who's showing up consistently, who responds in ways that feel natural, and who simply isn't capable of meeting you halfway. And here's the most important part. You're not rejecting anyone. You're aligning yourself with relationships that actually support your growth and well being. And that kind of alignment is where self respect lives. Recognizing it, trusting it, and acting on it is one of the most empowering steps you can take. Over the years, I've grown and I've changed. And while I still have a handful of friends from my youth, most friendships were seasonal, and that's perfectly okay. I've learned, sometimes the hard way, that trying to give CPR to connections that no longer fit only drains your energy and slows your growth. People move, priorities shift, interests change, life changes, or maybe they were really never truly friends to begin with, more like acquaintances all along. Now I focus on people who choose me, who walk with me on my own empowering growth path. And I've never looked back. Do I miss some of those people? Sure, I do. But I miss them in the context of their time in my life, not for what they could bring to me today. And that clarity, it's freeing. It's so freeing. It allows you to show up fully for yourself and for the relationships that actually matter. You don't have to carry friendships that no longer flow both ways. Stepping back isn't rejection. It's giving yourself space to see what's real. True mutual connections meet you halfway. Everything else, it teaches you to value your own energy. Before we wrap, I want to leave you with something simple, something you can carry with you every day. Let it settle in and let it guide your choices. So repeat after me. I choose mutual energy. I choose mutual energy. I choose mutual energy. This isn't about perfection. It's not about forcing friendships to fit or trying to make someone care more than they naturally do. It's about alignment, choosing relationships where effort flows both ways, where presence feels easy and authentic instead of forced. When you prioritize this, you create space for connections that lift you up. They support your growth. They honor your energy. They honor you. These are the relationships that sustain you, that feel light and genuine instead of draining, instead of confusing or one-sided. And the more you practice this, the more you recognize and attract the people who truly belong in your life. I choose mutual energy. Outgrowing friendships isn't loud. It doesn't come with a clear ending or a final conversation most of the time. It's quiet, it's subtle. It's the moment you realize you deserve to be met, not chased. And choosing alignment over obligation doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself too. So if you've been the one holding everything together, take a breath, step back, let the truth reveal itself, because the right connections won't need to be carried. They'll meet you right where you are. Remember, I choose mutual energy. Thank you for being here and getting honest about what it means to grow, even when it changes who walks beside you. When you stop holding on to connections that no longer meet you, something shifts. You feel lighter, you feel clearer, you feel more at peace with where you stand. You can listen to this episode and my shorter Power Shot insights on signals and standards with Suzie wherever you stream your podcasts. And if this conversation left you thinking or reevaluating something in your life, connect with me at powercoachsuzie.com. You're not alone in this, and sometimes moving forward starts with simply being honest about what no longer fits. I look forward to seeing you next time for another empowering topic. For daily inspiration and practical advice, Find me on social media at Power Coach Suzie. Got questions or ideas for the show? Head to powercoachsuzie.com where you can connect with me, explore the blog, or learn more about what I do. This is Suzie signing off. Until next time, keep reading the signals and never, ever lower your standards.